Welcome to the Creator Kaleidoscope podcast. I'm your host, Nathalie Agnes. Before I get into this exciting episode with Fia, just a quick announcement. I've changed the name of this podcast once again. I'm currently settling on the Creator Kaleidoscope. The idea behind it is that, reality is multifaceted, and the same truth can present infinitely depending on the angle of perception. So on this podcast, I invite people to share their angle of perception. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, I'm here with Fia today. Fia describes herself as an actress and creative consultant on social media. And those two terms are quite broad. At the same time, I've been following Fia for quite a while, and she has a very interesting and unique take, I would say, on AI and how she integrates that in her work. So, Fia, how would you describe what you do?
That is a question that I've been circling for a very, very long time now. I got to the point where I was changing my bio about every 3 days because I couldn't decide who I was and what I wanted to do and stuff. So the reason why I've landed on creative consultant is because I have been spending a lot of time talking to people, listening to them, hearing their ideas, and I realized that my strengths lie in kind of in that sector. So facilitating and helping people find their way and coming up with ideas and brainstorming and telling people what to do, maybe a little bit, I don't know, in the kindest way possible. I'm more about strategy than implementation. That's where I get my joy. However, then I discovered AI and I realized that I really, really enjoyed that side of the world and being able to bring what was in my imagination to life. So, yeah, what I do is quite broad and quite niche at the same time. I'm currently focusing on AI twin content, so digital doubles, depending on what you talk about. Because I am an actress, I've been working as an actress for almost 15 years now. I mainly do TV commercials, so advertising, and I love it. If people say, like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? I'd be like, be in TV commercials. It is the most incredible thing. But the problem with that is acting is one of the few jobs where even if you're like really good at it, you don't have the right you can't guarantee that you're going to be doing it all the time. You have to audition. If you get to a certain point, you might not have to audition, but you still have to wait for someone to want to put you in something, or you have to go and find someone to put you in something. So with other jobs, there's a bit more security there. And I think in recent times, I felt this kind of sadness and this pressure to be working more and feeling like I didn't have any control over that, feeling like I was waiting for that phone to call, feeling like I was less than because I wasn't working consistently. Or what's happened recently is I've had periods of loads of success. I'm on TV, I'm in cinemas, and that work has been filmed a year ago. And right now I haven't done any work for quite a while. So I'm having to talk to people telling me, oh, you're doing so well and well done and all this kind of stuff. But inside I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm an out of work actor. I'm a resting actor. So yeah, when I discovered AI, it kind of changed my world a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you make a lot of the stuff you make is so cool. I've seen some of your vlogs. You did this posting challenge on YouTube where you were posting every day for, I believe it was like 21 days. But one of my favorite pieces you've ever done is where you're riding this dragon.
Yeah.
That was so cool. And I thought that was such a creative and unique take on combining, okay, I have this skill of acting, and I've always had this dream of being in a fantasy movie or being on a dragon, and you just get to create that.
Mm.
And I would love to hear a bit more about your philosophy around integrating AI in what it is that you do, and specifically as an actress?
I think like AI is a bit of a dirty word right now. It's a bit of a catch-all term for absolutely everything. And I think we're forgetting the roots of it and forgetting what AI is or what AI isn't. And we've been using computer generated images and computer generated graphics for a really, really long time. So when you look at something like action films or fantasy films, especially things like the Marvel superhero series, which I've always dreamed of being in, it's all green screen. It's the majority of it is not real. They are in their costumes, but they are acting to nothing. If you look at things like what is it, Lord of the Rings, you know, you've got Gollum in a suit, like he's there acting. But, like, there's so many things that aren't real. As an actor, you're aware of constantly, but as a consumer, you might not be aware of. So when something like AI comes along, you think like, oh, this is awful, like it's not real. But where do we draw the line at what is real and what is reality? Because if you look into advertising, especially, a lot of stuff in advertising has never been real either. A lot of food advertising, you've got people spraying all sorts of horrible chemicals on burgers to make them look nice. You've got models with clips behind their backs trying to make the clothes fit them properly. You go far as back as, you know, what, the 1700s, where people are painting and they say, you know, make me fear. And people just did. So this concept of not gatekeeping, but that humans are the purveyors of reality and everything is truth, and AI is the devil because now nothing is real, doesn't ring true, because, well, turns out it was never real. Nothing was real. And I think a lot of people got a bit of a shock during the pandemic when they started to realize that influencers were not as real as they thought. So you would have people filming their morning routines, and then they realized that, oh, wait, to film your morning routine, that person has had to get up, turn the camera on, get back to bed, and then pretend to wake up again. So they were acting. Um, and right now, I think there's a bit of a disconnect between who is allowed to act and who is allowed to have access to fantasy and um, expanding what is real. And anyone above a certain point, so, you know, influencers, billionaires, rich people, successful people, they're allowed to do whatever they want. And people who are on the same level as you or maybe below you have to stick to a certain set of rules. And heaven forbid they try and live in some kind of world that brings them out of where they are right now. So I think that, yes, I shouldn't say that, oh, okay, well, if billionaires are lying about everything, that everyone gets to lie about everything. But the point is that you don't need to hold on to, but this is real or this is not real, or you can't do that because it isn't real. Because if you actually worked in advertising and the film industry, you would understand that nothing's real. And finally, it's at people's fingertips, and the barriers have fallen down. And where previously, to get a film made, you need to jump through so many hoops. You need to have your parents work in the film industry. You need to know people. You need to fundraise. People don't put things. So many films and projects fall through. So many good ideas have never seen the light of day. The amount of jobs that I have not been in that I've almost got, or I have got and they've fallen through. It's crazy to think of where my career could have gone, and nobody knows. So that's a constant threat in the media industry, is financing and producers, and where they will take the risk and where they won't. Right now, if you have an idea and you have the skills, you can bring that into real life, and you can, you know, it doesn't need to be the end of the road. It doesn't need to be I make AI generated videos, the end. It could be, here is my proposal for the film that I want to make. The film that may need £1 million plus pounds or dollars to make. I'm giving you the concept, you can see it, and if you're interested, now you can invest in it. It doesn't have to be kind of all or nothing. And that's kind of where I am, because I started writing my own TV show about 6 years ago, based on my life, based on the things that I've been through. And I know that most people say, oh, there should be a reality TV show about me and stuff. So people will be like, okay, yeah, what's so original? But I will say that someone did offer to to write my story for me. A producer contacted me and asked if he could base a character around my life and the things I've been through. And I said, no, he said, I'll keep you in mind for casting. And I replied to say, if it's written about me and it's my life, I'm going to play the character. So if you're not going to cast me in it, then I will be writing my own thing. And I soon realized that to get a TV show off the ground, you apparently have to do a book, or you have to do like a one-person show in Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is a UK thing, or you have to do it in like a London venue or whatever to get people to see it so that they can make this TV show. And that's fine if the concept you've made can be made into a play perfectly well and played by one person. But the thing that it's in my mind, I would find it hard to do that. And also, I see it in a TV show. I don't see it on the stage. It's just a completely different format. So where this all came from was me going, okay, well, let me learn how to use AI, because if I can put a concept or a short film or some kind of proposal together and someone will then put what I want to make into real life, I can post it on YouTube or whatever, that it doesn't even need to go on TV anymore, then I get the outcome I will. So back in, I think, February, I uh, opened up Adobe Firefly boards, which is where I do everything. And I started playing around and just seeing where it would take me. I was inspired by the Wuthering Heights trailer. One single trailer. There was a her running through the mist. I was like, whoa. And the music was amazing. And I went walking out in the Cornish coast where I live, and the waves were rushing against the rocks, and it just was all misty and moody. And I thought, wow, this is incredible. If I had the skills that I wish I had of videography, I would film it all myself. But I mean, I have a drone, but it was so windy and misty, you couldn't fly a drone in that. So I just started there. I made one photo and then it grew. I didn't ever think that I didn't go, I'm going to make a film which has me riding a dragon. Just one day, about 3 days in, I realized I think I'm going to ride a dragon in the next scene. And it just grew from there. So yeah, I have to apologize. I will rant and rave. I'm like the worst podcast guest ever, because I will go.
No, I love it.
But yeah,
I love it.
the point is that I think that AI is as creative as you are, and you can choose to use it creatively and you can choose to use it not very creatively. And the reason why I do my AI twin work is because that as an actor, your likeness is everything. And in advertising right now, I'm seeing a rise of AI influencers. And it's scary because you've got people who don't exist recommending products that they've never tried. And it doesn't sit right with me, because there's a lot of people that is their business. And I'm not saying you should ban all AI, and I'm not saying that there's no use case for these things ever. But in specific situations like that, I want to be an advocate for people across the globe, whether you're an actor or you're not, to own their likeness, to own their digital likeness. And if someone wants to make an advert with you in it, they can, but they have to pay for it. They can't just willy-nilly just generate a person and not pay anyone and put it out into advertising, because that's not how advertising works. Like, for anyone who doesn't know, if your likeness is shown in an advert, you get a buyout. Used to be royalties, they've changed it to flat buyouts. It's usually anything from 6 months to probably about a year. And if you are filmed on the day and this part of your face is shown, you won't get paid, because that's like not enough to prove that it was you. But if your face is shown, they have to pay for your likeness. Now, we are running to implications where we're running into situations where people have generated an AI influencer. They've created an entire ad campaign for whatever they've decided to sell. But it just so happens that the AI influencer that they've created that doesn't exist actually looks very much like a real life person, especially if this person uses YouTube and they are a YouTuber and they are a creator, because a lot of Nana Banana has been trained on YouTube. And that's what we had recently. There was a situation where a man, he had generated an AI bikini model that
Oh
basically...
my God. I know where you're going with this. Sorry for interrupting, but I
That's
was going to
okay.
use this as an example. It was because I follow this copywriter. I forget her name now. I believe it's Alex Catoni or something from Copy Pussy, I believe. I might have just butchered that name. But I saw her make a video about another copywriter, a male copywriter that had exactly what you just described. Basically used her pictures as inspiration and, like you said, made a bikini model with the face of her on it, advertising a copywriting course or app.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And
That's just baffled my mind. And what you mentioned about these AI influencers. Mm, I'm only human. I like a doom scroll every once in a while. I have, like, sometimes it's really hard for me to tell, like, is this an actual human or is this AI? And then sometimes you come onto these pages, they're full on, like, everything's AI generated, but it's so hard to spot. And it freaks me out. It freaks me out a lot.
yeah, and at the end of the day, my AI stuff, like the dragon stuff, is a little bit more stylized, especially, dragons don't exist, so you can't really draw off like a real life dragon to get stuff like that. Although I did reference like reptile scales and stuff, but still it renders still looks like kind of video game footage, which is why I went down the video game angle for it. But the stuff that I'm doing now and the stuff that I've been doing on my personal page beforehand is very real. People don't realize it's AI. Um, and I think a lot of people right now are almost ruining their own social media experience by being these kind of self-appointed AI hunters. Because what are you actually getting out of scrolling through Instagram, watching something, and then saying, "This is AI. I don't like AI. This is AI." They're not. Especially now, there was a woman who, she's a fantasy writer, and she wanted a designer for the cover. She employed an artist that she'd been following for a really long time, does digital painting, really amazing work, and, used the work on the cover. And she was being told that she was going to get blacklisted for using AI. Everyone was saying they're not going to buy it because she used AI. And she said, "I haven't used AI. This is the person." So she goes back to the artist and she says, "Hey, is there anything you can send me so that I can prove that this isn't AI?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure. I'll send you the screen recordings. If you do it on Procreate, it will send you like a time lapse of you drawing things." And so she would send that, post that, and people would go, "No, that's really easily faked. Still don't believe you. It's AI. You're being banned. I'm not reading your thing." So she goes back to him again. He has to send something else. He sends revisions, all this kind of stuff. And it gets to the point where she's like, "Well, there's nothing I can do to prove that this isn't AI." And she didn't know what to do about that. And I think it's really sad because AI is computer generated. So if you work in digital painting, it is going to look very real. Like the i- the bread and butter of what AI can do is graphics and digital art and anything that is already been made by a computer. Because I don't think people quite realize is like it's when you're using your laptop and you're using your laptop, when you're using like your iPad and you're drawing, the computer is turning this into a stroke and et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you draw on your iPad, no one is ever saying, "Oh, your iPad drew that." They're saying you drew it. You just used your iPad. But now it's autonomous. There's no kind of line there. The actual output will look similar to that. So there's no way to prove it. So the best thing to do is just look at something and go, did I like this poster? Did I like this painting? Did I like this piece of writing? Did it make me feel something? Did I stop thinking about how it was made, who made it, how long it took them, and actually start thinking about, did I find this enjoyable? I do think that a lot of people are worried about kind of water and about energy usage and stuff like that. But one thing I have said to people, and I don't know the exact statistics on this and the exact facts of numbers, but in terms of energy consumption for AI, in the past, I think 2 to 3 years, they have improved their energy consumption by about 20-30%. So every year they get more energy efficient. If you compare that to the fashion industry and the agriculture industry, they do not improve. They're massive, massive contributors to, global warming in terms of energy consumption and carbon footprint and stuff. And they have a large proportion of it, and they have not been iterating and improving and trying to make it more sustainable in the same way that AI has, mainly because they're using AI to try and work out how to make it more sustainable, because these billionaires understand that if they want to grow and if they want to keep doing this, they will need to make it more efficient so that they don't lose money. So it's in their best interest to improve on that. So that's the thing I will say, is that when it comes to energy consumption of AI, scrolling on social media itself will be using energy. Some people have 20, 30, 40-minute showers. So you're probably using more water every day than me. I take a 2-minute shower, guys. I take a 2-minute shower. So yes, I use AI, but if you're taking 30-minute showers every day, washing your hair every day, that's actually quite a lot of water. So it's this hypocrisy of kind of, oh, but the water, but everything, it costs water. Everything we're using water, and I don't think we quite realize how much we actually use on a day-to-day basis. So I don't think people should be as stressed out about that. Yes, we should be stressed out about the world and the environment and stuff, but saying, oh, well, don't use AI isn't necessarily the only thing that should be going on, really.
No, I agree. And I love that you put this into perspective, because that usually is one of the first things that comes up, right? Is just how much energy it uses.
Mm, mm,
So I love that you put that into perspective.
yeah.
Um, Now we talked a bit about like how you actually implement the creative part of AI,
Mm,
but you're also a brand consultant or a creative consultant. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the creator economy, creator industry now. Because rendering these videos, creating these amazing images that you're creating, that's one way to use it. But a lot of people, when they think about AI, also think about writing and content and stuff. And what are some other ways that you're using, like I guess, workflow within your one person business? Because it's just you, right?
yeah, it's just me at the moment. Although I use AI to fill in the gaps where my skill isn't there, or I don't have the time to do certain things. But the end goal for me would be to be making money to pay people to do certain things. Paying someone who's a graphic designer and paying someone who's a video editor to do those things. I like the idea of having a team, and I like the idea of human people and stuff like that. So it's like I've said previously, for me, it's not always a be all and end all, but it is what it is. So with me, my favorite use case for AI is actually for introspection and for self-discovery. So I call it conversations with myself, because AI is a mirror and it will kind of give back what you give it. So in the days of ChatGPT 4.0, there are a few people who took that as far as it can go, and maybe had delusions of grandeur because their ChatGPT decided that they got it to, they gave the impression that would then make the ChatGPT bot act as if that person was a deity, or that their bot themselves was a deity, and that it was kind of like talking from another universe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're living in a day and age where AI psychosis is very much a thing.
Yeah, it is. And I think I read someone tried to say somewhere that it wasn't a thing, but I almost had AI psychosis. I think I developed a twitch last year in my eye. I would sit on ChatGPT for 8 to 10 hours every single day. I am where I am today with AI content creation because I spent so long prompt engineering and learning prompt engineering and finding different ways to get to know it. So, um, but it can be, yeah, it can be a lot. You can lose, like a lot of people know, you can lose your critical thinking skills. You can outsource a lot of decision making. I used to find myself, and even do now sometimes, kind of like going to ask a question like, "What do you think I should do about this?" When really I should ask a friend, or I should just make a decision myself. But one of the best ways I use it is to get AI to ask me questions. So if there is a decision that I'm unsure about, instead of saying like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this decision, what should I do?" and then have a conversation about that in that way. Instead, I'll say like, "This is what I'm thinking about. Can you interview me to get to the bottom of it, and so I can start to weigh up my options?" And it just shifts the conversation a little bit more. Another thing in business is limiting beliefs. A lot of people have been talking about it recently, and sometimes it's really hard to surround yourself or find people who are going to be able to ask you the questions that need to be asked. Not everyone can afford professional help. Not everyone has friends or family who are equipped to have those kind of questions, to ask those kind of questions. So if you use it wisely and fully, understand what you're using it for, and not lose sight of that, because for some use cases, it can just tell you what you want to hear, especially if you're doing relationship advice. Sometimes, if you're giving one side of the story, it can then start to spiral and dig you deep into whatever you bring to the table. But getting AI to help you uncover your limiting beliefs, but not only that, give you actions and steps to shatter them and to do something about it, is a very incredible use case for me, and I think that's what has helped me the most. I created like an interview prompt that anytime I felt like I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but I just wasn't doing it, I would plop it into the prompt. Depending on how much time I had, I would do like the short version or the long version, and just say, right, this is what I'm struggling with right now. Why? What's going on? And it's helped me kind of put actionable steps forward to break through those things, because it's the long process. But yeah, that's
It
one of my
is.
favorite use cases for AI, is helping you learn more about yourself.
That's beautiful and such a constructive way of using AI. Because, like you said, there's downsides to it, like to anything, right? There's downsides. And I've even noticed it in my own thinking and my work process, where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to need to take a step back and come back to my center. But what I liked, or what really stood out the most to me, is that you said asking AI to help you uncover your own limiting beliefs and give you steps on how to overcome them. That made me think of one of the Living Internet Alliance or Living Internet University um, live podcasts we did. And you jumped on one of the calls, and you were talking about method acting.
Mm.
And specifically, I think I wrote this down in my Apple Notes somewhere. Um, and you said something along the lines of, okay, imagine yourself on a stage, you're speaking on, let's say, a convention. How are you going to show up? And what thoughts are you going to be saying to yourself? What beliefs are you going to install in yourself? And one of the things, or one of the beliefs that you used as an example that really stuck with me, because it's something I really needed to hear at the time, was people want to see my work. People want to hear my work. People are here for my work. Because, I mean, I'm sure we all do, but I struggle a lot with, like, who's going to listen to this? Like, who's going to watch this? Why am I even doing this? And that statement you made really, in a way, helped to be like, okay, I'm going to do this for me because I enjoy this. And when I radiate that joy, other people are going to see that.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
Can you talk a little bit about that method acting and
Mm.
those limiting beliefs and stuff?
Well, yeah, to kind of bookend as well, not bookend, but like extend on what you were saying. I think one of the things that people need to recognize is that, and remember, is that when someone signs up for your webinar, when someone signs up for your, you're doing a talk, or even clicks onto your video, if you take it down as something as small as clicking onto your video or clicking onto your article, they want it to be good. They want this to be the thing that changes their life. That's why we have a thing called clickbait, because most people, and there's a lot of people that do, but most people don't click on something wanting it to be bad. They want it to be good. So when it lets them down because they've been misconstrued, it's bad. And I bring that back to acting. When you walk into the audition room, the panel want you to be good. They want you to walk in and be the person, and they don't have to do their job. You've done their job for them, and it puts them at ease. So if you take that into everything you do, it's really powerful. When you're stepping up onto that stage, people want you to be talking. They want to hear what you have to say, because if you're there, you're there for a reason. So that's what I always say, is that people are rooting for you. Everyone is in your corner. And as long as you just keep reminding yourself of that, everything you post will come from a place of more confidence. Like my 21-day posting challenge, which like was really rogue, was really bootleg, was low production value, lowest production value possible. I had to just speak and just make content for, I think it was at least 5 minutes on YouTube every day. And one of the videos has probably less than 100 views, but it has a comment on there. It's a video it's called Are You Tired of Being Sold To? And I just ranted about how I felt about the industry and the creator economy and marketing and everything. And someone posted a massive comment, really big paragraph, about how, thank you so much for this. Like, you've put into words what I've been feeling a really long time. I've been doing this, X, 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 keep on going kind of thing. And I just thought, wow. Like, I had been making this content thinking, oh God, this is so sad. Like, nobody's watching my videos, and I know this isn't the point, but I would have really liked to have had some success with this in the back of my mind. I thought I was going to go viral from these videos that I put absolutely no kind of visual effort into. But you never know who's watching. And you only need, you really, if you have a good enough offer, you only really need 10 people to kind of watch for the next month or two, to pay for your offer. Really, if you've lined up, if you set up your business well, you really don't need that many clients. So yeah, that's that. But to bring it back to method acting for me is less acting, it's just being. And so, because I've been doing a lot of improvisation as well throughout my career. It's why I do a lot of TV commercials as well, because when you go into TV commercial auditions, They make you do the craziest things. They're like, okay, now imagine that you're sipping this bottle of water and it turns into a lion, and you're like, wow. So you have to really go with the phone, and the only way you can really do that is just by being and not acting. And I think that's an important thing that you can take through to anything you do in life. And identity transformation is just making a choice. What does a confident person do? What do they think like? What does the future version of me, how do they act? Because if I have my habits and I have my way of doing things right now, and I maybe don't want to stay in the same place and keep doing the same things and I want to grow, I'll probably have to grow into someone else who has different thought processes and different habits and different approaches to things. Um, so being able to kind of take yourself out of yourself and live in the fantasy of what does a successful business person do, and then you just kind of do that every day. It's a really strange thing that happens, and I think too many of us think that, well, if only I just won the lottery, or if only I just went viral overnight and had like loads of followers, and then all my dreams will come true. But you won't be able to handle it. If you Most lottery
Mm-mm.
winners go back to their old jobs within like, I don't know, a few months, maybe a few years. No, probably not a few months, that's a bit too much. But it's the same with content creation. If you blow up overnight and you have no system, you haven't got a regulated nervous system, you don't have a good routine, you don't have a good client inbound pipeline, whatever that the phrase for that is, to kind of take those leads and turn them into cash. You don't have a good system for that. It's kind of completely irrelevant. So you don't want to go overnight and just change your whole world. You want to do it step by step, and you want to slowly grow into the person or the business that can handle all this wealth and incredible things that are going to come your way. And you'll appreciate it more as well if you um, go straight into success and you never have to go through any hardship. You're not going to have the best time if you struggle, and if you have have to break through blocks and break through all these kind of issues. When you do have some success, you'll be more grateful for it, which is why it also brings me back to AI as well, because I think a lot of people say that, oh well, AI makes everything so easy, you've taken the struggle away from creativities, and therefore it's completely invalid. And I think that until you've actually used AI properly, then you will realize that it's not easy at all. Most of the time, it's an absolute mess. So that's an invalid kind of concept. But also, struggling shouldn't be the be all and end all. Shouldn't be the goal. You know, being this kind of struggling, starving artist that's not making any money and doing everything for the craft, like that shouldn't be the gold standard. Uh, and spending hours and hours and hours on something shouldn't be the marker of whether it's good or worthy of your time. I don't need you to have spent 10 hours on that video intro, especially if I'm only going to watch it for 3 seconds. I don't expect that from my creators, and I don't expect that from the people I watch content from, and I don't think it's fair. So kind of there's a lot of creators out there who are discovering different ways of using AI that save them time through, generative fill on Photoshop, or the object tool on Premiere and After Effects that means they don't have to rotoscope around to cut themselves out anymore. And they feel a bit conflicted, like, oh, I'm using AI and people don't like AI and I'm not allowed to do this. Or instead of scrolling through hours and hours of stock footage, I actually generated exactly what I wanted. Oh, God, this is going against things. But I don't think you should be worried about that, because people don't watch it for that long. And engagement is almost at an all-time low on platforms like Instagram. You've got sites like ManyChat with the auto comment to DM feature
Yeah.
that have completely decimated all the comment sections of everyone I follow. And I love comments. The reason why I got into social media was because I realized that people hate reading comments, and I love reading comments, and you can do a lot of niche research in comments, and you can do a lot of competitor analysis reading through comments. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that social media isn't really social anymore, because you go to these comments and it's just the word prompts, or it's just the word cash. And you're like, I wanted
Yeah.
to have a conversation. I wanted to see what people are talking about. Oh, it's hard. So to kind of get angry at content creators for trying to save themselves some time and money, when actually we're not even engaging properly anyway. We're just watching for a few seconds and then going off. Half these people aren't even buying what people are selling. So I just think, don't worry about the haters. Do what you need to do to get the content out that you want to put out, but just make sure that you're putting out content that you believe in, that you um stand by, and that you're not just kind of generating for the sake of generating, and kind of just copying for the sake of copying. Then just do what you got to do.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned a bit before. But instead of being like, okay, is AI good or bad? Or is this piece of content good or bad because it was created or not created by AI? Ask yourself, do I actually like this? Like, did it make me feel something? I thought that was a really, I can't believe it. I almost feel like a fever dream, but I was going to say it almost feel like you have such a human approach to all of this. And that kind of ties into what you were just talking about. You can go on any website, any social media platform, and you will find like, you know, this is how the algorithm works right now. And ManyChat is like, oh, comment this word, whatever. You immediately end up in like this whole funnel, right? And I mean, I can understand both sides here. Like, if you've got a service, you 100% believe in it. Of course, you want as many people to see it as possible. You want as many people to have access to it as possible. So from that perspective, I can definitely see it. I also have a background in marketing, so I can fully understand. At the same time, however, and this ties into what you said, like, do I actually like this piece of content? Regardless whether it's AI or not. I think the bigger and better question to ask here is, how do I actually want to use AI? Not like you should use it this way for your business. No, like how much time do you actually want to be spending online? You mentioned you love starting or having conversations with people in the comments. And I enjoy it too. Like, my favorite platform is LinkedIn. I don't know why, but I really enjoy it. I know people hate on it, but I get to have really interesting conversations with people in the comments that just, I don't know, pop out of thin air. I've never met these people, but it's really interesting. And I'm sure that's kind of what you meant, having these conversations. That is, it's almost sad that we are living in, or that it's evolving in a way that all this AI content is being pushed, and because it needs to look a certain way, because we're advertising a certain product or whatever. But social media is just becoming, because of those things, again, there's good and bad. One of the downsides, however, is social media is becoming not social at all. It's becoming like little, I want to say almost like islands, because there's communities here and there. And not to, self-promote here, but Fia is also a big part of the Living Internet University community. And this is a topic that we've discussed over there quite a lot, about how it's increasingly becoming harder and harder to find real people online and connect with them.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are looking for connection. And I think what you said before was true. It's like, how do I want to show up online and why do I want to be online? And one thing that always strikes me when I see a lot of people angry in comments is they are angry about, oh, this isn't real or this is that. And whatever they have their opinions about AI, they're completely valid. But the thing that strikes me is how much time do they actually spend of their life in the comments, shouting and having to go at people and being angry when they could be, creating and not consuming in that way and creating real human art. If you're so angry about it, then go and create your own. Or they could even just put their phone down and go outside. And if they're so desperate to be in touch with reality, then the best way to do that is to go out into the world and be in touch with reality. So, and I think what can be quite frustrating for a lot of creators is AI now is being used for several different use cases. And most of the time, people are using it to do the things that they don't know how to do yet, or doing the things that they don't want to do. So admin and other things. So there's a large proportion of people who use AI for writing everything they do because they actually don't want to write. They don't actually like writing. They have another skill that they're doing, and or part of their business involves marketing materials, but they actually really don't want to write them. And so when someone who is a writer finds out someone is just using pure AI for writing, they get very angry because they get very offended that the thing that they like doing, someone else is automating and instead of paying them to write for them. But you can't decide what someone else wants to do or what they don't want to do. And you can't also force everyone to pay people to do certain things because we don't all have the money. Now, obviously, there are some massive Hollywood companies that can afford to pay people properly and choose not to. But that's part and parcel. So, yeah, it can be very frustrating to be, a photographer and to see someone like me generating images because I don't have a fancy camera and I don't have the skills to step outside and take the photography, or don't even have anyone to take a photo of me half the time. So, and there's plenty of people doing solo photography and solo videography who prove that you can do it. So that must be really frustrating for them to see someone like me doing it with AI and not taking the time to learn the skill. But the truth is that I have lots of skills and I have lots of things that I'm interested in. So I physically don't have time to master photography, master videography, master visual effects, master cinematography and putting all that in together, master sound design, master writing, master marketing, master sales, client acquisition, cold calling, like everything that goes at finances and just the list can go on and on and on and on and on, and one person can't do everything. So now when we're getting things off the ground, it's easier to use AI to do that. So it can be really frustrating, and also not knowing what's real, what's not real, wanting to connect with real people and not knowing whether that's not nice. But I don't have the answer for that.
No, I'm just trying to get different perspectives, and you've touched on some really, really good points. I feel like with my questions here, I'm going a bit all over the place, but
Right,
that's
I'm
how
all
my
over
brain
the
works.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before when you did this 21-day posting challenge on YouTube, and you were a bit disappointed how you didn't get more views than you did, but then you did get this really good comment on one of your posts. And that leads me to, we did a call earlier this week, or was it last week? And you mentioned that you had gotten the opportunity to go on a brand trip with Adobe.
Mm.
And yeah, I was hoping or wondering if you could share a little bit more about how that happened, because so many people have this belief that I need tens and hundreds of thousands of followers. I need this huge platform of followers in order to get to that point. But you've just proved that that's simply not true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I proved it to myself as well. When I got the email, I almost fell out my chair. I actually think I cried, which is very like me. I get very I feel all the emotions, every single emotion very highly. But I so in January, no, see, there's two things. I don't know exactly where, where, why, and how I got this invite. I'm piecing things together, but there's multiple different things that could be the thing. But in January, I signed up for a content creation retreat, which was sponsored by Adobe. And I signed up because I was like, I want to work with Adobe. I want to do brand trips. And yeah, let's just put myself out there. I had no followers, I didn't know anything about motion creation, motion design. I was the least qualified person there. But in it, we had like access to people and different teams. So this is one angle that I think may be the reason why I got invited, but it also might be another reason. But when we had an option to have a kind of one-to-one chat, and instead of just having a normal chat, I decided to just pitch. So yeah, I just pitched myself, told my everything I do, my ethos on where the creator economy is going, and just kind of said like, this is what I want to do. Um, and I hope you like it. I'd love to work with you in the future, kind of thing. And the response was like, "This is great. Keep posting and make sure you keep posting." And I was like, "Great." I didn't expect anything to come from it because didn't post on social media whatsoever at the time. I think I had about 50 followers, on 30 followers actually, probably on Instagram. And I didn't post regularly, especially wasn't posting regularly on my personal account with all my family and friends and stuff. And then somewhere about a month later, I saw a Adobe Creator Community page. And it was like, be in the room and be amongst the, people talking about the future of the economy and AI and everything. And I thought, well, I mean, I can do that, even though I don't create any content. I mean, I have opinions and I have, I have all sorts of things. So I just put my email in, and I completely forgot about it. And then, yeah, one day I just got an email to say, hey, we'd love you to come into our VIP community to talk about the future and everything. And I walked into that room and there were people with, 100,000 followers, million followers, like people who've been doing it for years, because it's not all about followers. It's just about kind of consistency and a kind of proven people who had a proven record for doing this and been working with Adobe. I was in the room with them and I felt like, oh God, I should have been more worried. But then I knew that sometimes your value isn't always what everyone thinks your value is. It's, having a million followers or making hundreds of thousands of pounds every month that apparently everyone's doing now, um, doesn't necessarily mean that people want to talk to you. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have good opinions. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're a nice person and that people want to actually grab a drink with you and hang out with you and talk about silly little things like AI. So if you just believe in yourself and you put yourself out there, like something might happen. I'm the kind of person who I don't hide my dreams. I don't hide my ideas to my detriment sometimes. I tell people what I'm going to do and then I don't do it half the time. So this year has all been about doing the things that I'm going to say I'm going to do, which has been working out weirdly well for me. So if you have any ideas, just try and do them because maybe they might be very fortunate for you. But the point is that you need to start telling people your ideas because you
Yeah.
don't know who is listening. And sometimes you tell someone an idea and then it sits in their mind. And then a week later, a month later, you get a message saying like, hey, I saw this job post or I saw this person and I sent your profile to them and they love it. Do you want to have a meet up with them? They're looking for X, Y, and Z. And if you hadn't told someone like, hey, this is what I do, or this is what I want to do, and this is, like what I'm working on, people don't know. People aren't going to be able to. People shouldn't have to search to find out what you're doing. Just tell people. Don't wait to be asked. Tell. Don't wait for someone to say, "How are you? What are you up to?" Send it to your friend. Say, "Hey, oh my god, I just made a really cool video. Here's the video. What do you think?" Let just promote yourself and shamelessly talk about what you like and what you're interested in, like the 21-day challenge, which I feel like I might package up into something, because I feel like there's legs there, and I think a lot of people would really appreciate it. And I did a 30-day one previously where I created a little custom GPT with a coach that would keep me accountable, and then I had to post, and then I had to post proof of that doing something, and it kind of grew from there, which was really helpful. But the point I was making was, oh no, I've lost it. I lost it. No, it's gone. It's gone.
Let's rewind a little bit. It's okay. Let's rewind a little bit. Because I was also already like thinking about, oh, that's interesting. I want to
My
ask a question
brain is
about that. But let's rewind a little bit here. We were talking about Adobe, how you got that opportunity. You were saying, share your ideas, tell your friends, send it to your friends, because you never know who is watching. You never know who's going to hear it, what opportunities are going to come your way just by sharing your ideas.
yeah.
And I actually love that you mentioned this, because I feel like this is what a lot of people struggle with. And that comes back to that imposter syndrome, the limiting beliefs, the maybe even like negative self-image. And that's why, because I know I struggle with this a lot. And that's why I asked specifically, like, can you refresh my mind a little bit on that method acting or being, really? And yeah, I feel like you've really hammered this belief into your brain or into your mind of people want to see your things. People are rooting for you. And I feel like if everyone had that internal dialogue,
Mm.
everyone would be posting, or a lot more people that would be posting than the amount of people that are posting now.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember writing an article called, I think, Too Many Ideas, Not Enough Time, um, which I let my Substack dry up a little bit, which I really want to get back onto it, but I've got so many things going on. But one of the concepts was the thing that's been driving me recently, and that's driven this whole thing, is that I'm full of ideas. And I kind of got a bit sick of seeing other people bring my ideas to life before me. And also, something that I will admit, me thinking that I could have done a better job. Just saying. Whether I could have done a better job is irrelevant. But I thought I could have done a better job. And that's what's interesting, because when you start to put an idea into practice is when you start to see, oh, no, I need to work on this. This isn't actually as good as I thought it was going to be. But if you never put the idea into practice, you'll never have that realization, and then you'll never get anywhere for more. You won't move forward with anything. You won't grow. So whilst you are protecting this identity of, well, in my mind, I could be a successful content creator. I could be, oh yeah, you don't want to shatter that perception of yourself. But if you never actually take any steps towards it, you will never grow to be that person. Like if I can't even, if I compare the work that I put out now, like the stuff that I'm working on now compared to like what I was doing 2 months ago, I'm always driven by not what I can do, but what I want to do. And I think that if you're a beginner, and if you are, particularly unskilled in something, but maybe you have the taste, or maybe you have the ideas, sometimes it can be really frustrating that you feel that you're behind. You feel like, oh, I've wasted so much time, and oh, what have I done? Look at this person who's been doing this for years and they're amazing. But I recently watched a video where someone said they were talking about creativity. He's very, very successful, very good at what he does. And he said that he plays around and it's all about just figuring it out. And he said, and I essentially just f- um, take the things that I know and put them together and just see what makes it. And that's when I had this kind of epiphany, because I thought, wow, that's the problem with being successful, is he's taking the things that he can already do and then seeing what he can do with them. And if you take the mindset that I take, and what I believe everyone should take, is forget about what you can do. You'll learn. You'll figure it out. Place the marker further than where you're comfortable. If you have an idea, like you want to do a video about hair care, and like I was doing something, having this thought about doing a banana hair food commercial. And I thought, oh God, and I zoom into the bottle and maybe I'm like riding a banana float. And maybe I'm dressed up as Josephine Baker and I've just got bananas all over me. And I was like, what? Slow down, Fia, because how the hell are you going to pull all that off? And then I went, hang on a second. No, don't slow down. Sit down, open your laptop, and see what you can make happen with that in mind. Like, what version of that can you make, and see what you can do, instead of going, oh well, I can't do that right now, so let me just film a little UGC video of the packaging. No. Open your computer and see what it would actually take for you to film a video of you riding a banana. Because actually, forget about AI. I've got a green screen and I now have like Photoshop. So actually, I just need to be on something like a chair or a stool that's shaped like I'll pretend that I'm on a banana, put in front of a green screen, Photoshop it in. There we go. I'm riding a banana. That's a crazy cool concept that I didn't think I could do. And if I didn't kind of push myself, I wouldn't have done it. So having that kind of delusional aspect and identity transformation side of going, do you know what? I can't do it. And that's the best thing. That's the best quality I have, is that I can't do the things that I want to do, which means I'll constantly be growing and evolving and making something that's interesting, rather than just staying in my comfort zone and trying to do things that other people could really do all the time. One of the things, no, I can't remember what I was going to say, but that's it.
That's amazing how you have like this green screen, and I love that you changed the question from what can I do to what do I want to do, and just take action on that. I feel like, again, a lot of people have so many ideas but don't execute on them. Right? Like, I believe we've all seen these abstract pieces of art and be like, I can do that. But that's the point, like, but are you doing it, right? And you just seem like the kind of person who's just like, okay, I got an idea. I'm gonna go just try and execute it, not even necessarily with the intention of I'm gonna be posting this, but just to see, what can I create? What can I make?
Yeah, from there you'll discover so much about your process, about what you like, what you don't like. Only in trying to action the ideas that I have I discovered that what I want to do. And I recently started thinking about kind of monetization and what I want to do for people and make this a business, so that I can continue to, explore and be in the creator economy, and I don't have to go to an office or something that normal people do. And one of the things I realized was this kind of ideas and execution, and something that I've been struggling with for a while. And I kept thinking to myself, if I can solve this problem of too many ideas and not actually taking any action on them, if I can solve that problem, I can help a lot of people. And I started thinking about, oh, well, I can do this and I can sell this and I can tell this person to do this thing. And I thought, or you can actually bring it back to yourself and start putting those ideas into action. It's very easy to stand on this side of the fence and go, oh, you missed a bit and you should try doing it like that. But if you're not actually doing it yourself, the best way to sell a service is to sell a transformation that you've already undertaken yourself. So one thing I'm working on at the moment is idea capture, how to capture ideas in the moment so that you don't lose them, and then systems that you can put in place that take those ideas, categorize them, not only file them into wherever they need to go, but pick ideas, pick a mixture of ideas that you're going to work on in the next week. Nothing too crazy. Uh, and and then put those things into your calendar and make them happen. And then either publish it, send it to a friend, put it in a folder, tick it off, and then start the process again, and have that on a weekly cycle. But I think my biggest advice to anyone is that you have to have a mixture of big ideas and small ideas. If you are only chasing big ideas, you're going to be really disappointed, because you will spend weeks, months working on something and it might not turn out how you want to. And you'll feel really deflated, and then you'll probably burn out and just take a massive break. Conversely, if you only focus on small ideas, you probably won't be pushing yourself that much, and you'll be getting these daily wins, but you're not struggling, you're not iterating, you're not learning and pushing yourself. And you need to do a bit of both, basically. Have something that's kind of a daily win, and then also have something that you can work on. And another thing is, especially if you're neurodivergent, it's like a kind of shiny object syndrome. And new ideas are always going to be the most interesting. And you need to teach yourself that if you had an idea once, if you come back to it in a month or 2 months or 3 months' time, that idea is still worth pursuing. And the idea that's the freshest isn't necessarily the idea that you should be kind of going through. And if you're constantly on that cycle, you'll always be chasing the next new thing. Something I'm still working on. But if it's just something that you need to train yourself out of, especially in this age of like overdosing on dopamine. It's attention. So one of the things that I'm kind of working on is going back through old ideas and forcing myself to pick those ideas instead of always just picking the new idea to work on. So yeah, I think putting things into practice, and that's where I want to be taking things, is a fork in my business will be what I'm doing for myself in terms of creativity and putting it into practice and showing people that it can be done by doing, and also helping people, talking to them, listening to their problems, and seeing if we can find a way of sorting out their routines and giving them the tools they need for success. So yeah, I think it's important to have both sides, because a lot of the time on the internet, it's just coaching coaches, social media growth experts telling you how to grow on social media because they've grown on social media, but they only grew on social media because they were talking about growing on social media because everybody wants to grow on social media. So, no, thank you. I want to be a creative consultant because I'm a creative person and because I know what it's like to create. And that's what's driving me at the moment.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, a lot of pieces of advice that you've given are so important to hear, especially this shiny object syndrome. Been there myself, and I do agree, if you have an idea and you keep putting it on the shelf and you keep putting on the shelf, it's calling your name for a reason. But it is, again, at the same time, important to make that distinction between, okay, what can I do now? What is important to do now? And how can I keep challenging myself, but finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
I feel like sorry, go ahead.
No. That's yeah. I was just going to agree that it's about priorities and not necessarily to-do lists, because the to-do list is never ending.
100%. Yeah, there's always more stuff to do. Now, what I was going to say is I think we've come to the end of this podcast, but I have one final question. And that is, if you could go back in time, let's say 1 year, 2, 3 years, however many years, and you could give a piece of advice to a previous version of yourself, what would that be?
To get an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. Like, because when you pay for a service like that, because it's, it's a fair chunk of money. It's not cheap. You realize, oh, I should probably use this because I'm paying for it. But yeah, the moment because I only signed up because Adobe were giving like free credits as like a gift for this content creation thing, as like a thank you for signing up and whatever. And I was like, well, I want the credits, but I mean, I'm not going to pay for Adobe. Like, oh God, subscription's so expensive. Oh, I'll just get it, do the credits, and then I'll cancel it. Oh, well, yeah. The famous last words, because the moment I opened up, I think it was the moment I actually we did a workshop in After Effects, and someone showed all the things that you could do with After Effects, and he showed his process of bringing things to life, and I was like, I cried because I was like, I think I found what I was looking for, all these images and all these things that I want to bring to life. I can do now. And then when I opened up Firefly Boards, and I've really, really kind of worked on how I use that and how I create, and I've got a bit of a system going, which I'll hopefully be teaching soon, because I think everyone needs to know how to unlock their creativity with Firefly Boards. But yeah, I would go back and just say, like, you you don't need to start the YouTube channel. You don't need to be posting on doing talking heads or doing all these things that people tell you think you need to do. You need to just start playing around and creating, because you'll want to share on social media. It's not a chore then. I'm like chomping at the bit right now because I'm about to launch like I've got 2 ad campaigns that I created all by myself. And I cannot wait to share them, but I'm like, let me just finish this so I can kind of put it on in whatever. So posting is not, it's not scary anymore. It's like, I actually like wish I could post. So yeah, my biggest advice would be to create. It doesn't have to be, Adobe. Other software is available. I'm not sponsored by them, although hopefully will be one day.
They should at this point.
Yeah, like a rep. But whether that is, picking up your camera or drawing something or whatever it is getting back into that creative practice and learning a new skill, something you've always wanted to do, and just learn and play to the point where you actually want to send it to a friend. And see where that takes you. That's what it is stop looking at what other people are creating and judging whether you could have done it better or not, and actually try and do it. If you really think you're better than them, give it a go, and you'll probably realize you probably aren't better than them, but that's okay, because we're all on this long journey. You'll never stop learning. You'll always be finding new things, and there will always be updates, and there will always be new software, and there will always be new things to learn, and it's just never too late.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your creativity, your passion with us. If people want to check out your work, or if they want to work with you, what's the best platform, or what platforms are you active on?
So I am active on Instagram. Currently, I will be more active on LinkedIn, and maybe a little bit of TikTok. There's a kind of the ones that I'm going to be working on, and then eventually Substack. Oh my god, it's all about being on multiple touch points. Yeah, if people want to work with me, there is a link on my Instagram. I'm hoping to update my website very soon because I've been doing the Web Dev Rebellion with Jesse. So I'm excited to update that, put all my stuff on there. But yeah, if people want to work with me, they can DM me, they can message me on LinkedIn. My email is on my Instagram as well. I'll be launching my course soon. I'm happy to talk to anyone who just wants to find out more about how they can digitize themselves and how they can unlock their creativity with AI and not lose their mind and stuff like that. So that's where I am, and I'm very excited to start posting more, but I had to take a little bit of a step back to look at the ecosystem and go, right, what am I doing and what do I need to make this a success, which is contrary to a lot of advice online, which is just post, post, post. But yeah, I've made a good decision. Sometimes you just have to step back, manage
100% agree.
everything and just go, is this sustainable? And what do I need to put in place so that I can keep creating, keep showing up, and keep making money? Because if I want to be bringing in clients and working with people, I need to be someone that they can rely on. Getting all your ducks in order are very important. But yeah, follow Figure It Out with Fia is my handle on pretty much everything. There's, I think, X, I'm Figure It Out Fia because they had like a limit, but I'm pretty sure if you type it in, you'll find me.
Make sure to link all your socials and your website and so on in the notes, because I will be posting this on multiple platforms as well. But thanks again, Fia, for making time for me, for us, and for sharing. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you for having me and letting me rant away. My brain can be a bit, but I just love having conversations and just discussing things, and I'm happy to chat to anyone really.
Yeah.
Especially if you hate AI. Like I'm not gonna.
Send her a message. Send her
Yeah,
a message.
I want to talk to you.
Leave her a comment.
Yeah, I want to pick your brain and hear your opinions. Like it's always an open conversation and open dialogue. This is not a shut up and move with the times thing. No, this is, you have valid concerns, and I think you should be heard. And I want to hopefully help you navigate this crazy creating world. That's not the phrase, but
yeah, if you need help, or if you just want to have a chat, reach out to Fia. All the links will be in the link area. And I'll see you in the next one. If you made it to the end of this video, to the end of this episode, I just wanted to thank you and invite you to leave a comment with the main takeaway you have from this episode. You can also support the channel by liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing, sharing with your friends. And yeah, thank you so much. I will see you in the next one.